welcome back. Another Race Weekend Canada's F1 podcast. I'm your host, name's Nellis, joined by team manager for Pro Racing Ontario, Daryl Timmers.
I'm here, man. I'm here. End of the season.
Yeah.
For our karting world.
Congrats. You've made it. Another one in the books.
We made it. It was definitely a tough season. A lot's going on, but I can't complain. And honestly, our members are amazing at Mika, and we can't thank them enough. And we're looking forward to the 2023 season.
Love that. Shouts out to everybody. Shouts out to Richard. Shouts out to yourself, Curtis. You guys keep the facility running. All the volunteers, the marshals in the corner, like everybody at Scales from the top down is grassroots. You guys foster a great environment for anybody getting into the sport and veterans as well. It is the premier karting facility in the country. So if you're trying to get on track in a go-kart, karting is the thing. Talk to Daryl. That's why he's here.
We're actually having a kart swap.
Swap meet. I saw that. Yeah,
so if anyone wants to get in, there's going to be great deals and stuff like that on karts and equipment, everything possible. It's like a kart swap meet that's happening at Mosport on Saturday. It's going to be all day. There's a bunch of people that are signing up for it, so there's going to be lots of equipment, everything you need. It's a good way to get secondhand stuff for a good price. So if you want to get involved in the sport, this might be a good way.
As well as know-how, right?
Yes.
Because not everybody knows what they need, how they need it, whatever.
Exactly.
And you just come around and you're in the paddock and you're talking. And to be honest, it's probably the best way.
Yes.
Get into the sport, get a season or two on some used equipment.
Yeah.
And then as you go, you start to upgrade and you figure out what you need. So yeah, swap meet going down. Mosport Karting Center this weekend. Be sure to come by and check it out. But we're here to talk Formula One, and there's a few avenues we could go down first. I mean, we have a back-to-back world champion, Max Verstappen. There was no question about that. We have driver market shakeup. It's confirmed. De Vries is in a seat next year with AlphaTauri. Gasly going over to Alpine. And we have a cheating scandal. Yes, a cheating scandal. There's no other way to put it.
There isn't.
I don't want to start the pod with a black eye, so let's start with Max.
Yeah.
2022 season. He's been on it all year.
Dominant.
2 DNFs.
Yeah.
That really was at the start of the season. We're like, whoa!
Yeah,
but like really and truly,
they sorted it out. And
really and truly, no. He finished the race in a half a minute ahead of everybody this weekend. Like, let's talk Max.
Max obviously showed, kind of shut all the critics up from last year about, hey man, like, I can race, I deserve championships, and this year he showed why he is a world champion, and we always said it, there's always those fans out there that think we hate on him, and we think we don't like him, but it's just a talk that we have, man, like, and Max can wheel, like, there's no doubt about it. This is why he's a two-time champion at such a young age, just like Lewis was, and, you just gotta realize that when you have a great car, a great combination of a driver and a car, and a team that's willing to do anything to win. Max is definitely a two-time world champion. There's
no question about it. They hit everything out of the park this season.
They did.
The car is fantastic. The driver is fantastic too. And we don't hate on Max. There's some of the maturity things that we've questioned. But to be honest with you, this year, I can't say I've seen much of that. Yeah. Right? That immaturity, let's say. I mean, on and off the track. I mean, he's been hit with a lot too. There was that scandal with his father-in-law, the Lewis Hamilton thing, and I thought he handled that pretty well. And even up to now, this FIA investigation has been going on for the past 2-3 races, and he's handled that just pretty well. You know what I mean?
No, and it shows his maturity for sure. Because last year it looked like he was really desperate to get that first championship, and he was trying anything possible to do it. And hey, I would do the same thing 100%. If we were all in the same position. It's not like we're taking anything against him, but this year, I think it was like finally like, okay, I got that first championship. It's off my shoulders. I got that weight off my shoulders now. Now I can just race. I have my one championship. Whatever happens from here on out is whatever happens from here on out. And Max showed this year, he looked like he was having a lot more fun. He was kind of more relaxed, looks like he would celebrate more and say, like, joke around more on the radio, and
he had the meme of the weekend in the press conference.
Yeah, exactly. So, stuff like that last year, or even like 2-3 years, you would never see that
last year for sure.
So that's that maturity that comes with that world championship.
And on the flip side, what you're seeing is immaturity, I think, from Leclerc, because we were talking just before we shut the cameras on here, and that last corner mistake that he made this weekend, which basically gave the championship to Max Verstappen, was an unforced error.
Yeah.
Well, not totally unforced. I mean, Perez was there, but I mean, it was the last chicane. Like,
Perez wasn't going to get to him. Like, he was within 3 or 4 car lengths, but if he was going, they would have both went off the track anyways.
Right.
He made a mistake. He drove off. It wasn't like he came back on track and he wasn't ahead, like, bumper, like, rear wing to front wing with Perez again. It was, you know, he's pushing hard. He made a mistake, and then, you know, I think the FIA could have been like, okay, you know what? He made a mistake. It wasn't like he was side by side, then missed the corner and whatever. It was Perez was behind him. He missed the corner, and then they gave him a 5-second penalty for it.
He didn't quite gain the advantage because he had the advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
But I say all that to say the growing pains of that. I think Leclerc is at a point in his career he's going to have to go through that in order to become a champion. Like similar to Max last year. Like Brazil comes to mind, or corner 4, where he's just like nope, and he's just like driving it straight, and you know. But going back to that, the 5-second penalty that occurred relatively quickly.
Yes.
After the race, and that was the last lap incident. And the thing that makes me think was, well, what happened a week before that when Sergio Perez was in clear violation of the 10-car safety car limit on multiple occasions, and they just didn't make a decision until well after the race, knowing Leclerc could have managed that 5-second gap had they. So something stinks.
Yes.
Something stinks.
I don't know. I just feel like the FIA just wanted this championship over with, I swear.
but hold on a second, though. And this is what I mean by something stinks, because we have all of that happening. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
We have the new results of this investigation saying Red Bull was in breach.
Yes.
And Aston Martin.
Yes.
Procedural breach for Aston. Procedural for Red Bull. And a minor overspend to the tune of what could be $7 million on the budget cap. Now, $7 million doesn't sound like a lot, and they're not saying it's $7 million. They're saying it's about 1.8 to 2 million.
They say about 5% over.
That's the window.
Yeah, that's the window.
Doesn't sound like a lot compared to 145 million. But these guys all know that's a new floor. That's an entirely new floor. That's
a lot of parts that you can put onto your car. You know, when a front wing on one of those things are 10 grand and rear wings 10 grand, a new floor is, you know, if you think about it and you add it up on 1.4 million, you can put a lot of new parts on that car for 1.4 million.
I listened to Mark and Brundle say some of these teams have B-spec cars that cost that much. That's the entire car, a B-spec. Like a lower tier team, for sure.
Like a Haas or something like that. Yeah, for sure.
But a B-spec car is the equivalent of what you've overspent.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is not this current season.
No, that was last season.
Is the 2021 season, which was already riddled with controversy at the end because it was fixed.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It was fixed.
Yep. It was a bad judgment call on FIA in that situation.
But the guy who made it is gone. It was fixed.
Yeah.
This thing stinks,
That's the whole thing about the last year champion, like, to bring this whole thing back up. That, like, it was just like, okay, we agree. He screwed up. He did everything. He's out of here. Really and truly, Max shouldn't have got that championship, but Max gets the championship. So there's that asterisk around Max. And then now this year, it's like, okay, well, you guys cheated last year. Sorry, breach of budget last year, which clearly went into some of the development for this year's car. And then now this year, they're way ahead of the whole field, and it's like, oh yeah,
30 seconds ahead of the nearest competitor.
So, like, is it really a minor breach if they're putting money into this year's car last year? You know what I mean? Like, all of these teams last year threw the 21 championship away just to develop their car for 2022. How is it that the team that one of the teams, Mercedes, put all their budget into last year's car to try to win that championship?
And they can't even sniff a P1 this year.
And then you look at Red Bull, that put just as much money as Mercedes last year into their car to be competitive, and they were swapping parts all the way up until the last race. So they were putting parts into their car until the last race. And then how are they still dominant?
Like in 2021, there was the whole like Brazil was the example where he touched the wing, and then all of a sudden it was this, and you're starting 25 grid places. Like, so there's that part. And you know, I think the big issue is the asterisk now is just like when you're typing on the computer, you can bold it. Yeah. The asterisk is bold. Now, right? Because now.
There's a lot
going
on.
It was like, okay, decision was made by human to go racing, even though protocol was not followed. Yeah. They admitted that they didn't follow protocol after the fact.
And you can't blame Red Bull for that
They fired the guy. I'm not blaming Red Bull for that one. Yeah. They fired the guy, but now they've overspent. And there's a whole political game.
Yes.
And what I mean, I don't mean like politics as in like who's running for president. I mean like buddy dinner after the race thing. Like you can't tell me that that's not going on.
No, that's going on. And people say that all the time where Horner is with the FIA half the time at dinners and stuff like that. So, you know, yes, Wolf is at those dinners sometimes too. Not saying that he's the only one doing it, but it is, you know, I don't think so. So we'll put it this way. Aston Martin is in the same breach as Red Bull.
Without the budget.
Without the budget. They're in the same breach as Red Bull. Are they both going to be the same punishment, you think?
Well,
because there's a lot of people that, well, so how this is all handled with this whole breach. So now we're back in, let's get into this.
Yeah.
So now we're back into this. So what they have to do is they have, what is it called? An acceptance breach, acceptance something, it's like an ABA.
Yeah.
It's where they accept that they did something wrong.
Acceptance
of the breach.
They can
contract.
appeal it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Red Bull, you're talking about. The team has the opportunity now to be like, yes, we violated.
Yes, we did it.
Yes.
Right? So if they go with the ABA and sign it and say, yes, we did this. Yes, we are under. They can't do anything. They have a penalty guideline. They will not lose championship points because it's only that minor one. The minor one, they can't lose anything. It's up to that 5%. They can't lose championship points. They can't lose driver points. They can get a massive fine, but they can lose testing time. They can lose aero all that time and stuff like that.
Time out. None of this matters. The car is 30 seconds ahead.
Yes, I know.
Okay? So that's the first thing. And the second thing is cheating is cheating.
Yes.
That's like somebody coming off track at most sport, let's say. They go through tech because they won the race.
Yeah.
And the carb fails.
Yeah.
It failed, but it only failed a little bit.
Yeah.
It only failed a little bit though. Yeah. Like it only failed 1 thou, not 5 thou.
Yeah. Fail's a fail.
A fail is a fail.
Fail's a fail.
And that is the thing about motorsport compared to other sports. Like if you talk hockey, basketball, it's a little bit more clear. The ambiguity is clear, right? Like
the offside's an offside.
Right. And we even have stuff nowadays that can tell you definitively it's like there's more cameras in other sports nowadays,
now.
And they're overturning calls that they've made incorrectly.
Yeah.
We like the sport, we understand pushing the boundaries and that, but once you get caught, there has to be a serious reprimand. Because if they get away with it, what do you think Mercedes is going to do next year?
They only got fined? Okay, cool. I spent
What do you think a guy like Stroll is going to do next year? Are you kidding me? This guy will copy anybody's car.
Yeah,
he don't care. He done take the fine, and he's like, whatever.
He does not care. I totally agree, and I think it's just to the point now where the FIA's got to make a.
They have to make an example of Red Bull.
Exactly.
They have to. But they don't want to because something stinks.
Yes.
Right?
And they know, and we all know that something stinks because if you think about it, this doesn't make sense of how Red Bull can just destroy everyone. Just absolutely hands down destroy everyone for an entire season of the first year of a car when their budget last year was
exceeded the budget because it was the first time in 7 years they had a chance to win a title.
Exactly.
And they were there.
Exactly.
And you put all your eggs in that basket.
Exactly.
If you look back at the pods we were doing at that time, we were saying, look, man, you have to do it, but you're going to sacrifice the development for next year, right?
And you saw exactly what we were talking about with Mercedes. And then all of a sudden, Red Bull is like, they developed the car for the entire time, and then they took off on the whole field. And it was like, how is this possible? You guys put so much money into last year, and then all of a sudden, you guys are like, going back and forth. Where a team like Haas, where they were 2 laps behind after lap 1, and then they go into this year and they're battling mid-pack. That shows that they sacrificed last year to develop this year's car.
Correct. Even Ferrari.
Yeah.
Even Ferrari.
Exactly. Same thing.
But it's the same thing with the FIA and them. We don't know what they were doing in 2019.
Exactly.
Right?
I agree.
They were there, and then all of a sudden it's like, the transparency is killing the sport.
Yes.
I saw a lot of people, motorsport people, not Netflix fans. And listen, we love the Netflix fans because Netflix has brought a new light to the sport, garnered new attention, new viewers, new races, more so. We love that part of it, but it has to be done correctly. I saw lifelong motorsport fans after that Michael Massey incident last year for the championship say they'll never watch it again.
Yeah.
And I woke up yesterday morning, read these articles, and I said, you know what? They got it right last year. Those people got it right. Yeah. You can't support something like this. No. This is like WWF. The new Liberty Media might as well be the WWE. Like it might as well be Vince McMahon running that now, because now it's about clicks on Netflix. Yeah. It ain't about.
It's not about. It's about getting the views and not about the sport. And our sport is amazing, and if we actually ran it properly, there would be one of the biggest sports in the world, which it is right now. But it'd be huge because there wouldn't be this. Like if someone off the street that never watched an F1 race came to that
Abu Dhabi round,
and they were like
Brazil onwards,
yeah, and they watched that, they were like, "What is this? Like, it's a clown show. Like, what do you mean that guy lost because of what's happening right now?" There's no, like you said, there's no definitive line of being like this is black and white. There's way too much gray area in this sport, and it's always been like that in karting all the way up to F1. There's always a gray area, and this shouldn't. They have to make an example of Red Bull, whether it be a massive fine, like a massive fine to the point where no one, okay, they spent over say if they spent over $2 million, give them a $10 million fine.
But even that's not enough.
But you know what I mean. They got to.
I know what you mean. But they're back-to-back world champions. They'll make that money like this.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing about it is, like, look, I'll be honest. We're not gonna get political and all that, whatever. But I think when you stand for something like Lewis did over the past 2 years with the George Floyd thing, and being the only minority, or one of the only visible minorities within the structure, and kind of sticking up for minorities all across the world and trying to get people of color and women into the sport.
Yeah.
He put a target on his back.
Yeah, he did.
Right? And nobody can tell me different, and this is all anecdotal, but this is based off of my life, years of experience, and just kind of watching how the corporate world works. It's like, as soon as you do something like that, okay, now we need to find a new golden boy. And that is literally what it's looking like now. Yeah. It literally is looking like, look, we're going to do whatever we can to Singapore.
Yeah.
To make sure that those guys are... Just go back to Singapore with the penalty thing.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
That's blatant.
Yeah, it is.
Now and then what goes through the clean comes out in the wash.
Yeah.
Right? Tractor. We could talk about this forever. Tractor on track.
This is ridiculous. Like how many times do we have to say, like, what are you doing with a tractor on the track? We've lost one of the greatest drivers, the potential greatest drivers in our sport, to this exact experience, and then you go out there and do it again and again, and then you go back to the same track this all happened to, that we're all talking about years and years later, and you do it again in the same conditions, in almost the same corner, and you, like, what are you doing, FIA? Like, Gasly was absolutely fuming, and he had a reason to be.
Rightfully so.
Absolutely fuming. And you know how dangerous it is to have a 2-ton vehicle on the track with a 2,000-pound car that's
even that. I don't even think those things weigh that much, man.
Like it is stupid. Like, what are you guys thinking? Like, I don't understand what you guys are thinking.
Well, this is the thing, right? So we did the podcast, and you can check it out after Monza, and Daniel Ricciardo had broken down coming out of the S's, like the back and forth slalom section there, and they didn't red flag it. They had a safety car out. There were double yellows, whatever, but there was a tractor on the track.
Yeah.
There was a tractor on the track on the exit of the corner, and I think you and I might have been the only people to discuss that. Yeah. But conditions were favorable. It was sunny. It was dry. Okay, whatever. Still, in my opinion,
it was straight when they went past them.
Still, in my opinion, no excuse for that, because you've seen how, in a scale of 1 to 10, that's the worst. The worst you've seen it recently. It's not like this happened in 1950 something.
No, it was
and you think about all the safety improvements they've made since 1950 something, right? Like when you talk about, the way where they hold the gasoline, the halo, the this and that.
Well, if you think about the car, like when in 1950, every single crash looked like the Grosjean crash from the final Abu Dhabi race.
100%.
And all of a sudden now it's like, okay, that happened, and he walked out of the car. He didn't get taken out of the car and survive in hospital. He walked out of that vehicle.
Well, he didn't look like Niki Lauda either,
no,
right?
Exactly. So that just shows you the progression of all of this. And then the one thing, like we're saying, this tractor thing. How can they not get this through their head that it's not a good idea to have a tractor on a car? This is the whole reason we have virtual safety cars. This is the whole reason we have a safety car. This is the whole reason we have red flags.
It's for safety.
Yes. There's like the whole reason all of these rules came in was because of this one incident, and then all of a sudden you're still doing it. Like, what are you doing?
Terrible. They got to get it together, man. I don't know what to say other than the FIA got to get it together. They got to stop. They have to remove themselves from the show. And be the governing body. Right? Why do we... Let me ask you a question. Any sport, other sport, do you know any of the referees' names?
No, not really.
Okay. Why do we know their names?
I don't know.
Why are they so integrated into this? They need to be removed to objectively look at what is happening.
They should be.
There's no excuse for a tractor on track in the rain after what happened to Bianchi.
Yep.
There is zero. They launch an investigation. These guys are a joke.
Yeah.
Like it all, and this is how I feel, and I'm passionate about this because I feel like over the past 3 years,
we've seen
definitely since last year to the sport is tarnished right now, man. Like it's really bad.
It is.
It's really bad.
They're trying to make money instead of making the entertainment. You know,
and you know how you make money? You deliver a good product.
Exactly.
And that's the man.
Stupid.
Okay, let's spin it a little bit. Let's go somewhere else.
Yes,
now.
let's go.
Gasly was fuming. Yeah. He was pretty tight with the team, and he's out of there now. Yeah. So I get it. Over the past little while, the radio messages have been kind of thing. These guys had every right to be upset in that particular scenario, but Gasly to Alpine creates a space for De Vries and AlphaTauri. What do you think of these moves?
I think it's great. I think I think Gasly kind of realizes he doesn't have anywhere to go. He's been in the Red Bull car, then he was demoted back down to the Alpha car, and he's performed non-stop for the last 3 years. Like, hands down, that guy is performing, and he still can't get into that car. So in his mind, it's like, well, I'm not going to get into the number one team here, so why am I going to stay here?
Right.
If I can get an offer from another team that's pretty decent right now, which is Alpine, and they're fast.
They beyond decent.
Yeah.
They just can't finish the races.
No, exactly. Once they get the reliability.
That's always been the thing with them. But when I seen, like, if you go back to Singapore, Alonso was in a good spot. Ocon was in a good spot this weekend. Mercedes couldn't. They had nothing on that Alpine in the straight line. Without the DRS, it really shows you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. So, and with these two new drivers coming in, which you can see that they're performing, and then it opens up a spot at Williams, which will probably be Sargent, to be honest, the American coming in. Which he's really good talent. Does come with a little bit of a background, but as in financial background. But he actually has raw talent. I've seen that kid drive since he was a cadet or a mini rock or whatever you want to see when he was 8 years old, all the way up. Him and his brother race. His brother's actually in the NASCAR series. He went the oval route. His brother went the oval route. He went the open wheel route, and he's definitely got some talent underneath him, so that's going to be a good one for Williams. But I think it was a great way to get De Vries into a seat because he damn well deserves it, and there's no way that they can just keep that guy on the sidelines anymore. Everyone has done everything possible to keep that guy on the sidelines, right. And I think it's a great development for him, and he needed this to show his talent. And when you win everything else, the only thing you can do is keep going up, and he's in a good seat now. And I think when Perez is out of there and ready to retire and he's done with Red Bull, I think De Vries could have a good shot going there. Yuki, they say he's the number one driver next year, but that's not gonna happen.
Nah. Okay. Overwhelmed, underwhelmed, surprised.
I have to say underwhelming is this finish to the championship. Like
even Max didn't believe it.
Yeah, he's just even like, Max am I really the champion?
What a terrible way.
It's just like not like how extreme that finish was last year to this one. It's like, okay, let's just get these 2 years over with and start off next season. They're
saying online the only thing that's more underwhelming is Jamie Chadwick's championship.
Yeah. Yeah, she did test an IndyCar though. She did all right with Rahal.
Look, man, we'll see what happens. Yeah. That's terrible though to see the series just kind of fall apart before it was finished for the year. Like,
yeah, but that in the end is
it's motorsport. It's money, man.
It is money. It was the first 2 years of that championship was pushed by a money guy, and then he said after 2 years I'm pulling my money, and then everyone has to do their own thing, and this is the third year.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen, right? So
sad.
Yeah, it is sad.
So the first one was what? Underwhelmed.
Overwhelming. I gotta go with Vettel, man. I was so pumped to see him battling up there. The drag race to the end, like
that was good.
Amazing,
that was good.
Right?
It was 4,000th of a second.
They showed the onboard cams, and you can see both their cars like right beside each other coming across the line. That was really cool to see. Surprised. I gotta say, Ricciardo was having a good race, and then he just went backwards. It's just like.
I tell you, my surprise was a 27-second win.
Yes, that was another surprise. Surprise.
I get it, spray, rain.
Yeah. But at that point, like, everyone else was in a battle. Hamilton was behind Ocon for how many laps?
Mad laps.
Yeah, like Vettel, Alonso.
No, but my surprise is Leclerc. Really,
Yeah,
like, it's not the total race. It's Leclerc. It's like. 30 seconds?
He's had pace in the rain, too.
30 seconds is a lot of seconds, man.
But hey.
I know, but Max is a beast.
Maybe there's some junior scandals there in the rain.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, listen, we're not trying to take nothing away from Max Verstappen.
Max is a champion.
Max is a driver. He can drive. If you put him in any car, he'll figure it out. That's the type of person
down, he is.
Right? So we're not going to take anything away from him, but something stinks.
Yes.
And that's what we're saying. And that's how we're going to end it this week. We got a couple races left in the season. We're still going to proceed, even though there's no real need to proceed. It's just part of what we do here. Let's see if Lewis can get a win before the end of the season.
That would be cool.
That would be good.
Yeah,
and let's see who finishes P2 in the championship, because that's still very much alive.
Very alive. Yeah.
And even Leclerc shot himself in the foot this week doing that too.
And you never know, with this scandal, they might actually say, "Hey, you guys are going to lose this many points for whatever."
That's true.
For a driver.
I could see constructors' points going out the window.
I can see that. I can see them losing a lot of money for that. I can also see them having less testing next preseason, a couple days off. There's going to be I think it's going to be a lot of things to try to hamper, like to kind of slow them down in the 2023 season, because there's got to be something that happens, and at this point we don't see the books. We don't know exactly what they did, but yeah,
you're never going to see it.
No.
Anyhow, I'm sure by the time we podcast again, we won't have a decision or any more clarity. No. And then the one after that,
maybe.
Probably not.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe by the end of the season, halfway through January.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, this was 2021.
Yeah. We're still talking about it a year later.
11 months For Daryl Timmers, I'm Dave Snell. This has been another Race Weekend Canada's F1 podcast. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, listen to us wherever you get your podcast. Or, of course, you can watch us on YouTube as well. Until next time, peace.